This conference will now be recorded.
Few people fell out on their job today, but I guess they were drinking those margaritas. Okay. When we work problems, as you turn problems to me, uh, this is what you're supposed to be using. And of course, when we do the multiple ones, you just go across this worksheet is all set up. You just go through and list them all in and label. The second sheet in here are the journal entries. The journal entries don't change no matter what the problem is. The journal entries in stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, they're there all set. And of course, you add the ones in stage 5. We have our T accounts, the permanent accounts, up top, temporary accounts. So when you're working problems, that's what you'll do. Then you have these tables, these schedules, statements you got to do, a cost of goods manufactured statement and a cost of goods sold statements. These statements are not very difficult, uh, but a lot of time uh, people sort of give up on them when there's virtually three items. There's the raw materials that are used in production, there's direct labor, and there's the applied manufacturing overhead. And we sort of adding those three numbers together, raw materials, labor, and overhead. Okay. So let's look at problem that you're working on today. And what I wanted to do was to start off with, let's just do the statements first, where the T accounts are already prepared, and we do the statements and see what they would look like. We have beginning balances. Uh, so this is a one that has everything in it, but still it's raw materials, uh, work in process inventory, finished goods inventory. But it's always going to be raw materials, labor, and overhead. Raw materials, labor, and overhead. So let's look at this problem if we were doing a statement. And in this case, we did have raw materials beginning inventory. So we just simply pick up the 100,000. Okay. Add the raw material purchases. Uh, Raw materials purchase 1,200,000. So the raw materials is available was 1,013,000, less the raw materials ending 200,000. So the raw materials used in production would have been what? 1,100,000. So the first thing we do, we put in the raw materials used. 1,000,000, 1,200,000, 200, 1,100,000. Yeah. We've already got those values. We just have to pull those numbers in. Beginning inventory, purchases, less the ending inventory of raw materials. The raw materials used was 1,100,000. Direct labor is right there, 600,000. That's the second item. And we always are going to use the applied overhead. Okay, when we're doing this calculation. So the applied overhead was 300,000. So our total manufacturing costs we're simply going to add these three items: raw materials used, labor, overhead. That turns out to be $2 million. Then we're going to pick up our beginning work in process inventory. We're going to add that 200,000. We're going to subtract the ending work in process inventory, which is 300,000. And so the cost of goods manufactured in this case would be like 1,900,000. So we're just finishing the template. Now, a lot of times we don't have the beginning raw materials, but we'll have the ending always. So we might not have the beginning, but if you had a beginning, you add it, then you subtract out the ending to get the raw materials used. We pull in the labor, we pull in the applied manufacturing overhead to get our total manufacturing cost. Then we add the beginning working process we had, we subtract the ending, and we get cost goods manufactured. Hopefully that is not so hard to do. Are there any questions on where the numbers came from? So it's always our goal to get to those numbers. That's always our goal. So we'll make journal entries, we'll post the T counts and some other things, but just realize the goal is to get to this number. Raw materials, uh, direct labor, plant manufacturing overhead. That's all we're doing. Adding those three numbers together all the time. Then we have to get cost of goods sold. Now, if we have beginning finished goods inventory, we add that. We're gonna put in the 300,000. Then we're gonna have the cost of goods manufactured. We're gonna bring this number down. Okay, so we bring that number down. Less finished goods inventory ending. And our ending finished goods inventory was 400,000. And so therefore, our adjusted cost of goods sold, unadjusted cost of goods sold is 1,000,008. You simply begin with the beginning, add the cost of goods manufactured, you bring that number down. So whatever is up here, we bring it down to this chart. We subtract out the ending finished goods to get an unadjusted cost of goods sold. Any questions so far? Okay. Any questions? Now we need our over unapplied overhead. Now we actually applied 300,000, but the actual was only 250. So we got too much cost in here. So if we over apply, we're going to subtract the 50,000. So see if it'll, we're going to subtract the 50,000. So our adjusted cost of goods sold is going to be 1,000,000. Now, if we had under applied, then we would have added the number. That is, if these numbers were reversed, we applied 250, but the actual was 300, then we would add. So those are the statements. Those are the new statements that we prepare in manufacturing account. Are there any questions? Any questions?
Did you want us
Everybody,
to show the work on like what we turned in, or did you just want the answers selected
when? On what?
for this assignment?
The one we're working on now?
Hmm.
Well, you should have sent it in already. Yeah, that's,
Yeah, we did, but I'm just saying like because we didn't have this chart. We did the Word Excel and we only like highlighted our answer. So for the first part for A, it just has the answers highlighted and it doesn't have the work shown. Do you want the work shown?
uh, it doesn't really matter that much. Did you get these answers that I got?
Yes, sir, we did.
Okay, we got these answers. So there are a couple of others, and for the rest of you will work on these. They were multiple choice answers, just to get you started. Because sometimes we'll begin to work the problem, and sometimes people fall out. Okay, let's start on our problem then. So this is in class problem 2. I guess it's 1, but I wanted to do the end thing. So you see, so you got a model now of what those statements should look like. Now, what I need now is for this problem, unit cost, selling price, and POR. Not sure why these are in here. So with all y'all great knowledge now, calculate for me in this situation, unit cost, selling price, and POR.
The unit cost we got was 110, the selling price was 440, and the POR was 10.
So unit cost is how much?
110,
110. Selling price,
440,
440. And your POR was what?
10.
So let's see how they did that. To the right. Ink 2 at 10, that's what? 20. Paper 3 at 10, that's 30. Direct labor, $20 per hour, 2 hours for book. So since it's taking more than an hour, we're going to multiply. This would be 40. MOH, we would simply do what? Divide the 200,000 by the 10,000 what quantity? So that would be 20, correct? So we add all those together. Do we get 110? 20, 30, 40, 20. Is that 110? All right, we'll assume it
Yes.
is. Then for the selling price, we simply multiply what? 4 times that unit cost. So as you can see, we're always going in here and estimating unit cost selling price. So let's see if we can get a POR. So with our new way, let's see if I can insert row above. What's the total hours that are going to be worked? What are the total hours that are going to be worked on this to make this book? Team 3, what's the total hours?
Hold on, let me find it because we only
Yeah,
have
I
like,
was just about to say that. I had it. I gotta find it.
yeah.
We got to find it. Taj, what's
Yeah.
the total hours?
5,000.
20?
You got 2 hours per book.
It's not 20,000.
Yeah, that's about 20,000. I don't know why y'all. What you have to do is calculate, since it was 2 hours, more than 1 hour, multiply that times the quantity, 20,000. 200,000 divided by 20,000 gives us a POR of what?
10.
10. All the problems got to solve that will start that way. So these other teams, are you all seeing? Well, at least, we have one team working. Maybe we'll have one team of 8 students. We'll see if the others gonna catch up with team 3. So team 3, you make them feel bad. They were saying we were going too fast. You all got the work done. So I guess we just got some superstars on team 3, I guess. Okay. But we all will get there. We're working our pace. That's the first thing we do. Now, let's go to stage 1. In stage 1, we're buying the ink and the paper. We're buying the ink and the paper. Does everyone see that? So we got to make 2 journal entries. So I'll just leave this in here so you have this as a guide. But then, when you work this problem, you know that you'll move over for that. So we've got the job order, and you should have done it on this sheet. So as you're working through, you come in here and put that job order we calculated on here. So it should be, you should be able to do it either way. Now for the journal entries, we're going to go to stage 2. And the journal entries are already here: raw materials, inventory, accounts payable, raw materials. So we bought how many ink cartridges?
24,000.
$10.
24,000. How much did we pay for
$10.
them? $10. And so we would have debited the raw materials inventory for what? 2,400,000. And we would credit accounts payable for 2,400,000. Any questions?
Would it not be
It would be
240,000?
Yeah, I was gonna
240,000.
say,
Yeah, it wouldn't be in the
isn't
middle.
it 240,000? Not. 2 million.
Yeah, 240. Yeah, that's a better number. That's the ink. How much for the paper?
360,000.
350,000.
So in doing that, we simply did what? Multiply what? 36,000 times 10.
So were
Any
we
questions
supposed to
on
use?
that?
So were we supposed to use this template, or was we supposed to just fill it out on the assignment? Because I just filled it out on the assignment, but I didn't know it was a template for
Supposed to be
the.
using the template now.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
But template might help you down the road. So that's stage one where we bought the raw material. And let's see, did we posted those posts for us? Already posted for us, 240 and 360. Okay, what's gonna happen in stage two now? We transferred in 20,000 ink cartridges, okay? So how much ink is that gonna be?
200,000.
We always buy more than we need. Hopefully everybody says just 200 times 10. And for the paper is what?
300,000.
300,000, 30,000 times 10. So we're in stage two and we're debiting work in process each time. Our actual labor hours is 19. So what we're going to do here? 19,000. We're going to multiply 19,000 times what? What was our labor rate? Wasn't it $20 per hour? So we'll use that $20. So what's 20 times 190? Is that
380,000.
380,000? Then here's where we're going to use that POR. We're going to take those same 19,000 hours. We're going to multiply that by our POR. That's going to give us what? 190,000. Any questions on stage two? We debited work in process each time.
The only question I have for the journal entry is stage 4 for the cost of goods and the MOH. That's the question I have. Because we had did the in class example for that part, um for the T chart for the manufacturing override, it wasn't equal, so you added 2,000, and then when you add it
You have to
together,
clear that.
Huh?
Well, let's see if we can get there. So
Okay.
let's go down T accounts. Are these the right amounts in the T accounts? 200, 300, 380, and 190. Is that correct?
Are you not missing some stuff? Oh, actually, never mind. Never mind.
Now, one of the things that just is kind of happening is that when we make the journal entries, and with the spreadsheet, it's posting them automatically for us. So it might be kind of helpful to use it. Just saying, it might be kind of helpful since it's posting some things for you. Okay, so let's mess this up. I'll come down here because I don't want to mess up. Now, how many were we supposed to make?
10,000.
We were supposed to make 10,000 books.
We only made 9,000 though,
We only made 9,000.
and that's 90%.
That's 90%. So why are you telling me that's 90%? What does that mean?
Because you're gonna need that for the raw materials. The 200, you're gonna put it on the credit to like balance it out. The 200, we ended up getting 180, and then for the 300, we got 270.
So we're only transferring out 90% of the raw material.
Hmm.
Correct. But all of what? We're going to
The
transfer
direct labor and productivity rate, is that what that is?
POR. Because those costs, no matter what the production was, you got to pay the workers, you got to pay your utility bills and everything. So if we add these costs up, 10, is that 10, 20? Okay. Sometime there will be a formula in here. If it doesn't look right, then you have to go in here and clear it out. Okay, so we're going to transfer the finished goods. How many units? 1,020,000. Okay. And that relates to a million. That's 9,000 units. Okay. So once again, we transfer out all of the labor and overhead, but only 90% of the raw materials because those raw materials stay. But the workers, they got to be paid. Somebody else got to be hired for the next period. The utility bills last year got to be paid no matter how many you made. That's why I stay on target. Is there any question on the 1,020,000?
Yes. Cause I was following the in class prompt that you did for last class, and then it was 50,000 versus 40,000, and you said 80%. Now here you said 90%.
Changes
I
every
don't think.
problem. It changes every problem.
Oh, okay.
So you can't memorize the 80%. You have to, I think the last time it might have been 8,000, so it's been 80%. It could be 7,000, it would be 70%. So every problem, you've got to calculate the percentage. Okay? So that's not a set number. But that's a good question. Anything else? So what do we need to do next, Team 3?
You divide the 1 million with the 9,000 and you get 113.33.
So we need a unit cost now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be equal to, we're going to divide the 1,020,000 by the 9,000. How much is that unit cost going to be?
113.33.
113.33. Any question? So all we did was, okay, we only finished 9,000. It was $1 million, so it's 133.33. So what are we going to do with that? I guess the question came back. Let's go to journal entries. It's time to, well, first of all, let's go ahead and make this journal entry stage 3. So the amount that we transferred, 1,020,000, is the amount in that journal entry. Okay. Now we need stage 4. How many did we sell? How many did the problem say we sold?
440.
And so you sold 8,000 books, didn't it?
I mean, y'all part.
So you
Oh,
sold
sorry. Yeah,
8,000?
8,000. 8,000. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm
Nah,
sorry.
part.
I got ahead of myself.
So you sold 8,000 books. What you sell them for?
440.
Where you get 440 from?
That was our selling price in the beginning.
So we said that selling price was 440. So we're gonna put the 440 here. And so how much was the sales?
3,520,000.
3,520,000. So at times you're gonna have to use the POR you calculated, and at times you're gonna have to use that selling price. So they do need to be correct. What about cost of goods sold? How are we gonna calculate that?
We're gonna multiply the 8,000 from our unit cost, which was 113.33.
So we're gonna take the 8,000 and multiply it by that unit cost. So that was what, 113.33?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So what's our cost of goods sold?
906,640.
906.
640.
Any questions? So 906,640 is there. Yeah, y'all better use these spreadsheets. And it puts it in cost of goods sold. Okay. And it's 113,360 what's left in the account. Assuming it is. So it's making some calculations in the T accounts automatically because formulas in there, but you have to be careful, make sure they're correct. Everyone see that? See, we didn't have anything over here before we make the journal entry. Then when we make the journal entry, you can have formulas that will calculate over here, bring over here what was in the journal entry. So the Excel spreadsheets can cut down your work a whole lot, plus have it more accurate. Now let's go to this manufacturing overhead account. And we have a credit in this account of how much right now? How much is in the account right now? What's the last entry in stage 2?
190,000.
190,000 credit. We debited work in process and credit the manufacturing overhead. Now we're going to go, and it tells us that the actual overhead is 180. So we're going to have a debit here of 180,000. So let's go and make that journal entry. So the manufacturing overhead was 180, all total. 100 of it was depreciation, and 80,000 was cash. Now we got to see, do we need to make an entry where we reduce cost of goods sold or increase cost of goods sold? So we have to make one of these entries. So we're going to go back to the T accounts. We go to manufacturing overhead. We applied 190. The actual overhead was what? 180. And so we applied too much over, we charged in too much. We got to make this account come to zero. So we're going to debit manufacturing overhead for 10,000, and we're going to credit cost of goods sold for 10,000. That's what we're going to do. Let's go to journal entry. Which one is it? So it's going to be this one where we debited manufacturing overhead for 10,000. We credited cost of goods sold for 10,000. When you make that journal entry, it's got to be a journal entry that will bring this account to zero. So that is, once that journal entry is posted, the balance in the account has to be zero. Got it? So that's how you can sort of tell. Are we ready to prepare those statements now? Those statements we worked on the first out of the pier. Are we ready to prepare them now? What is this, 896? So if we come over here, can we prepare these statements now?
Yeah, we can.
All right. This is team 3, so they say they can. I'm gonna put team 3 up here. They're getting all the points today. Okay, so we want to prepare these statements, and we're gonna put the answers in first, okay? Let's see if we can put the answers in. We're gonna go to the T account, and since we transferred $1,020,000 to finished goods, then the answer to the statement is gonna be $1,020,000. Okay? Then for cost of goods sold, the answer is gonna be the ending amount in here, 896,640. what we just got to be able to do now is to put some numbers in here to make that happen. 896. So what's the first number you're gonna put in? We didn't have any beginning raw materials, did we? But how much did we purchase in raw materials? We purchased what?
600,000.
We purchased 360 and 240. Okay, so was that 600,000?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Where we going?
How much was the ending raw materials? From the T
100,000.
account, the
100,000.
ending was right. Okay. The raw materials used is 500,000. How much was the labor?
380,000.
So we can come right in here, copy these numbers. Got our values in now. And so if we add the raw materials used 500, 380, and 190, our total manufacturing cost is what? $1,070,000.
Yes.
We didn't have any beginning work in process inventory. What's our ending work in process inventory?
50,000.
That gives $1,020,000. Team 1 and 2, do we see this? Okay. We said we want to get to 896, 640. We didn't have any beginning finished goods. Now we're going to do what? Get the cost goods manufacturing and paste it here. So we just bring that number down. What was our ending finished goods inventory? I hope this number is correct. The 113,600, 113,360. And so the unadjusted cost of goods sold, would be equal to
906, 640.
That's a part. Not now.
906, 640.
Now you a
Now
big.
what do we need to do this overhead right quick? Since we over, we need to subtract. How much did we have in that journal entry? Well, let's just go to T account. How much was in the T account?
10,000.
10,000. So we're going to subtract this 10,000, right? It's going to get us to the 896, 640. So you have one team finish, got all of that done. So the other teams 1 and 2, y'all gonna have to catch up. So if nobody had it done, then it'd be one thing. So I gotta get your team working, work on the material, and complete this. So your assignments next time, we've gone over this, you just gotta put it on the forms. Number one, I want you to get those uh, unit cost, POR, selling price, that homework problem. I want it done just like what you were shown on the Excel spreadsheet, problem by problem, identifying who worked on what. And of course, team 3, you had a coupler that you got to work with, but you should be able to find them now. So it's good to go and find them, and then we'll look at them next time briefly. And then teams 1 and 2, you all got to get this problem work. Have any question. Now we worked this together as a class, but mainly team 3. So on Thursday, we're supposed to be working in teams, with each team having a problem to complete in class next time. So I'm going to give you a problem, then you got to get it done. Now I may send the problems out sometime tomorrow so you can start early. But you now just got to go through the process. We have everything here. We have the templates. This Excel spreadsheet will post certain things automatically for you. You can, in fact, post your answers, and a lot of these items can be posted directly. That is, you can go to the T accounts and do a control copy on certain numbers, and those numbers will go to these statements, but I'll leave that up to you to do. So, but and that will be important as we move on to projects too. So, I'm not going to do that for you, but you can study. If you want to know how to do something like that, you just Google it. How do I transfer numbers from one worksheet to the next in Excel? It'll tell you how to do it. You practice on it, and you get it done. And so that'll help you, because if you got that done, when you take the midterm, you got to do the whole thing by yourself. Then if you got your formulas and everything in, it won't take you long. But if you don't, then it'll take you a while. But that's up to you all in terms of how much you're going to do that, working with that. Are there
And
any questions?
you said this is what our midterm is over?
Yep, this is the midterm. So what we'll do, we'll practice, each team practices uh, Wednesday. Each team has their own problem. They got to work it and turn it in. I'll probably try to get it out sometime on Thursday, on Tuesday afternoon. Then on next Tuesday, everybody works on one by themselves. Then on next Thursday, we have the midterm, but we'll see how it goes. Some folks may say, well, yeah, we got this down and we want our midterm. Others may say, well, we'd rather take the midterm after the break. So we have people want to do that, we accommodate that. And the people who finish before the break, they won't have to come to class the Monday after spring break.
Um, do you have this Excel sheet posted?
Should be posted. It should be a spring template in there.
Will we be able to resubmit this one or no?
Will you be able to resubmit this?
Yes.
if your team's gonna get together and do it, Miss Bethany, I don't want any individual submission. I want one. So if I get one team submission, and that's all I want on those I want one team submission. So if I'm gonna get one team submission, yes. Otherwise, no. So that's up to you all to decide.
Okay.
One team submission. Anything else today? Well, don't go out and drink too many margaritas tonight, because you got to be working and everything. Uh, but seriously, bars, they have to do that all the time. So this is just not something that's altogether out there, unique and different, and just intellectual, academic. It's done all the time, and so you're going to be better in your employment. If you can look at things like this, be adjustable and flexible. So teams 1 and 2, y'all got a lot of catch-up work to do. Uh, team 3 seemed like some of the mistakes were either in the middle one or the last one. I think the first one looked okay. Maybe a couple of things were off in the middle one and the last one. So 10-6 and 10-7, what you need to look at. But everybody else got to do all of that and get it together, looking, in decent shape on the Excel form, looking appropriate.